Hey, what's up, Scott Balkum here with Imagination Creation Films, and today, well, we're talking about this, the GNARBOX 2.0 Little Time Saver. Time? It'll actually save your ass. So we're going to do a deep dive into the GNARBOX 2.0, what it can do, what it can't do, and what it really is good for here in just one moment. But before I do, I want to take a moment to ask you go ahead and click subscribe to this channel and, tell all your friends about it because, it's kind of cool. So this is the GNARBOX 2.0, and this is the 1 terabyte version. And I've had my eye on the GNARBOX for quite a while, and I have a friend that raves about it and loves it and uses it. I liked the idea, but I wasn't sure if I would personally use it. I wasn't sure if the workflow, the extra things that it does would be something that I would use. So I've been kind of reluctant. Well, I was sent an evaluation unit to review, and so full disclosure, they did send it to me, and as always, I'm free to say whatever I want. I'll be honest and up front and tell you I was shocked at how much I actually do use the GNARBOX. And we're gonna dive into all of the features and all the reasons and why I use it and what I use it for, but let's go out to the field to find out where this is best used and why. We have a reporter out in the field right now. Scott, can you hear me? Why do you have your finger in your ear? So you can hear me?
I'm not a reporter.
You are in a field.
Yes, I'm in a
literally,
field.
And you are reporting.
Fine. When I'm out here shooting my time lapses for nature, like this beautiful sunset I'm getting here, I used to have to carry my backpack around, the big one, and I had to have my laptop in there and all the cables and everything to support all of that. And it was it was a big adventure that you had to do. But with the GNARBOX, I can transform this to this. Now I have a much smaller backpack, and I just need to bring my camera. Why? Well, because GNARBOX does it all that I need, all in this little tiny package. And it's really warm right now, which is so nice. But I can just eject my cards in the field, pop them in here, put them in my pocket or my backpack, and I'm free to do what I need to do. I don't have to sit here and get tethered to a laptop and figure out how to power a laptop for hours upon hours upon hours out here in the middle of nowhere. That is a beautiful thing. And this is really, really where GNARBOX has really changed the way I shoot because I don't have to bring as much. And I love that. Even when I'm shooting Komodo, it's 1 terabyte. I can get a lot of footage on here. And I have a duplicate copy. I'm a happy, happy guy. It's pretty nice. I don't know what else to say. Back to you, Scott.
Well, that was awkward from Scott out there in the field, but when you're cheesy, and who doesn't love cheese? Well, I guess people who are lactose intolerant. So let's dive into the GNARBOX 2.0. So what you have here is quite simply, it's a little computer. That is probably the fairest way to describe it. It is a very rugged, it's kind of rubberized, it's fairly lightweight, it has interchangeable batteries, so they just snap right on, go right in the back, push it in, lock it in, and it's ready to go. And it says hold right to start. So if you hold down the right, it starts to boot up. And we'll just let that boot up for a moment while I talk about some other features. On here, you have a door. And this door right here, you'll see it has a micro HDMI, it has an SD card slot, and it has a USB-C slot. And this is very weatherized and ruggedized. On this back side, you have another door and you have another USB-C right here. You have a little hand strap so you can keep from losing it. But what can you do with it? Well, let's go with the various configuration and plug-in options that you have. So it comes with a power brick and a USB-C charging cable and data cable. This will charge it and keep it running for about 3 to 6 hours depending on use. And if you use some of these features that I use, it's probably closer to the 3 hours. It will recharge in about 2 hours, so that's pretty handy. They also sell separately a GNARBOX media adapter, and the media adapter comes in various options. This one has a CFast 2.0 slot, it has an SD slot, and it has a micro SD slot, and it comes with a short cable as well. It is USB-C, and it's also very fast. And fast is where this comes into play. They also make this with the Sony QXD reader. I think I got that right. I'm not a Sony shooter. This can plug in to this USB-C or this USB-C. So with the USB-C, you can also plug in, say, an SSD. You can plug in a Red Mini-Mag reader. You can plug in anything that is media-based that is USB-C. So what does this box do? Well, it is a standalone device that gives you the ability to copy footage, duplicate footage, verify footage, copy it to multiple devices, playback, transcode, create proxies, view, work from. It has a lot of capabilities all in one device. And I'll give you some examples and I'll walk you through these as well. So let's run through a simple one first. And then from there, we'll go into more advanced. So we have here the GNARBOX. It's ready to go. And we're gonna open this up. We're gonna drop in our SD card right here on the side. Push it in. You can close the door, don't have to close the door. And immediately it comes up and it says backup now. And boom, right there, it's copied. Now, there's not a lot of files on here. I did that to keep the video nice and short, but it just made a copy. So now that we're back home, we can arrow down and you'll see that you have the Lexar card in here, and you also have the GNARBOX itself. So if we go into GNARBOX, just hit the right arrow, you'll see that you have 971 gig free of the 1 terabyte. And then you can also back up the GNARBOX. Now you could back that GNARBOX up to the SD card, if you had an SD card, or you could back it up to, say, an external SSD. Just plug it into the USB and off you go. The other option that you get when you plug in your SD is advanced. So if we hit right here, you can see we can go down to the advanced menu. When we click advanced, what it does is it gives you the ability to choose the destination. Let's say you have an external SSD plugged in. So let's take this cable. Let's plug in my little 2 terabyte SSD right here, and we're going to plug that in. And as soon as it recognizes it, you'll notice it came up and it says, hey, Scott's SSD, do you want to back that up? Do you want advanced or do you want to eject it? We don't want to do that. We want to go back. We're going to go down and we're going to say the Lexar. We can either back it up now to GNARBOX or we could do advanced. When we choose advanced, it says, would you like to go to the GNARBOX or would you like to go to my SSD? Or would you like to go to both? So which would you like to go to? Well, we want to go to the GNARBOX, that's on. We want to go to the SSD, that's on. So now we're going to go, okay, now it's asking your default file folders, and we're going to go to the 2, yep, that's all good. And now it's copying. It is copied to 2 destinations at the same time. What did that just do? Well, you're out in the field like Scott was, and you've shot a bunch of stuff, and you'd like to transfer it quickly to get it off your SD card because this is a single copy. You lose it, you drop it in water, ice and snow, whatever, you've lost this forever. Pop it in here really fast, click backup now, drop this puppy in your backpack, and it's off to the races. It's doing it all by itself. If you copy it here, well, you've now got 2 copies. Put this in one location, put this in another location. If you hook up an external SSD, well, now you've got it stored to 2 locations. You can now reuse this SD card. Well, what if you shoot on Komodo, Scott? I mean, I know you shoot on Komodo quite a bit, So how are you going to do that? Well, you just take your CFast, plug it in right here to your CFast reader, plug it in, the same thing happens. It'll copy it. So what other things can it do? Well, that's a good question. How about a red mini mag? It's flashing away, and looky there. It now says, would you like to back this up? Indeed, I would. Now, this is a 1 terabyte SSD inside of here, so how many of these are you going to copy? Well, chances are you're probably only going to get 2, unless you don't fill them up. But you get them a second copy really quickly while you're in the field without having to lug around a computer. You can also dump it to your external SSD at the same time, getting 2 copies. You could just dump it to your SSD and get a copy there. So in the field is where this thing really shines. And it's pretty limited what you can do from the main screen, but that's the intent. But when you connect with an app, it changes everything. And there are 2 apps you want to download, SafeKeep and Selects. And we're going to go through those right here. First thing you want to do is go into your Wi-Fi on your iPad or your iPhone and connect to the GNARBOX 2.0 SSD Wi-Fi. Open up your SafeKeep app. It'll check the connection, and now it'll show up in your browser. So just click on the GNARBOX SSD. You'll see in here, there is GNARBOX, and we can go into this folder. We've got JPEGs in here. We can open up a JPEG. We can look at that. You can review it. You can copy it someplace if you'd like. If you want to copy it to another location, you can do that. And you can delete it from here. We can go back. Let's go back. Let's go to MP4. And in here, you can see there's a video. If we press play, you can see it's not very fluid. Can't play back 4K video files seamlessly, but it can do something else. And that something else is called transcoding. And I'll give you a prime example. Let's go into the folder we just created here. In MP4, we choose Select, choose this one right here. And now, over here, we can choose Transcode Video. It says, where would you like it to go? Well, we can go to the GNARBOX, or if you have an external SSD, let's choose the GNARBOX. And it says, where do you want to put it? Well, let's put it in GNARBOX. Let's create a new folder called Transcode. Select Enter. It says, you want to output here? Yes. Okay. And now it says, well, do you want to make proxy files, 720p MP4s, or do you want to go to ProRes 422? Really? Let's just do a little proxy. Let's proceed, and it's done. It just transcoded the file. Let's say you're out in the field, you did a 2-hour hike, and in that 2 hours, you shot all kinds of beautiful footage, and you're really, really excited for this footage, and you want to edit it as soon as you get back, but you have a 2-hour hike back. You also need to make copies. What are you going to do? You're going to carry your laptop with you? Well, you're not going to carry around a laptop in your backpack and try to transcode footage with your laptop closed. That's not going to work. But your GNARBOX can do that. So you could put your media in to your GNARBOX, copy that footage as you begin your hike. You're about an hour into your hike, and you've now copied all your footage, not just to the GNARBOX, but to a second device, your second SSD. You've checksummed it. Now you've got 2 copies sitting on SSD. You're just going to remove that. And now you're going to go in and you're going to say, well, I would really like to be able to work on that as soon as I get there. So I'm going to select all those files and I'm going to transcode those videos. And you're just going to let it run while it's sitting in your backpack. And you've got your phone out. You're just, doing what you got to do. And you just did all that while it's sitting in your backpack. It's rugged. You're cruising right along, doing that 2-hour hike back. You're transcoding all your video files, and they'll be ready when you get back. That's a time saver. That's a lifesaver. It's a butt saver too. Now, what do we have here on this? So if you'll notice, we have a lot of different files in here. We have BNP, bin, BDM, all of these files, because we have two things going on. Under settings over here, you'll notice we have the different app and software and firmware versions. Make sure you're updated to the latest one. There could be quite a few updates you might have to do when you first get it. Connection manager, we'll go into that in just a moment. Your IP address and your SSID and password. Here we have checksum, and there's two different types of checksums you can do. One of them is MD5, and the other is the #64. We will choose that one. I like that one myself. It's faster. You can do full logs if you'd like. Smart backup. Smart backup means that I put this in, it creates a folder for today, it copies everything off of here, and then if I put this back in, it'll say, I already got a copy. But what happens if I put this, after I've copied it here, put it back into my Sony, snap a couple more photos? If I stick it in there, it's going to say, oh, let me update that for you. And it's going to go and grab the files you've changed and copy them back. That's what Smart Backup is. Only copies files that don't already exist. Perfect. Flatten folders. So that's where part of those folder structures come in. If you notice on a Sony, there's like a clip folder that's buried inside of a bin folder that's buried inside of a different, the video files are everywhere. It's a mess in here. I don't know why they do it, but they do it. But because of that, you can flatten those folders and it will put them all right in the root of the folder that you ask. Folder by extension allows you to put in on your root a folder called JPEG for everything that has the extension JPEG, MP4 for everything that has the extension MP4, which means you no longer have to go looking for everything. It means it's going to separate your RAW and your JPEGs if you shoot both at the same time. So we can go in here and we can see in JPEG are all the JPEGs. If we go back, let's go to this one right here. Let's go to the JPEGs. You see there's 3 JPEGs here, all within the Selects app. Now, presets, you can set up custom presets for how you want the footage to be handled when you put in a card. So you can have it go to 2 locations, you can have it do the flatten, or you can have it not do the flatten. You can create presets for any of those, and you just tell it, do that one. So in settings, we have down here, connection manager. So there's field and home. Field is when you need to connect directly to the GNARBOX. You don't have any other Wi-Fi. Home is literally when you're at your studio, your house, or your office. Click home. GNARBOX will then connect to your home Wi-Fi. Your phone will then connect to your home Wi-Fi, and you can do everything that way. So it's basically, it's like a NAS sitting out there on your local network. So now we've gone through the SafeKeep app, and it's pretty straightforward, pretty simple, but you could queue all this stuff up and let it rip while it's in your backpack. And it does keep a log up here. You can actually see the history of everything that I've done in the GNARBOX, including any active tasks. So if it's still transcoding, you'll know you can just look on your phone as you're hiking back down the mountain. So the Selects app looks very similar to the SafeKeep app. You choose your GNARBOX, you choose your folder here. We're going to go into this folder, and let's go into JPEG. Now, what Selects allows you to do is process photos for Lightroom and other photo apps. So let's choose Select. We're going to select all, and we're going to open Workspace. So now, when we open this up, we'll see we have the first photo up here. This photo is, well, it's kind of bland. Let's give it 3 stars. The Komodo's out of focus. So let's go down here to keywords and let's type in focus problem. Let's add a keyword and boom, we have focus problem in there. But the Komodo is also in there, so we might want to know that. So let's add that in. Let's go back. Let's go to the next one. Ooh, I like this shot. It's really nice. Let's add some keywords in here. Let's add in Kessler. Yep, and Cine Shooter. Let's add that. Good. And cool. It's 5 stars. Now let's go to the last one. Let's go 4 stars on that one. Yeah, okay. So now we can go back, and it says, what would you like to do? We want to save all. Now, you can write it to the existing source files. You can write to an XMP sidecar files, or you can create entirely new source files, but let's just do sidecar files. Perfect. Now let's exit, and we're out of here. And this works for photos only. Okay, so I was going to show you the Lightroom and how to import folders and how to import files, and you would see all those notes and keywords and ratings and all that would go in there. But apparently Lightroom's got a bug. It just showed up with iOS 14 and Lightroom. Adobe apparently is working on it. It's a good point to go ahead and bring up GNARBOX support, because I had no idea what was going on. It was working. I was demoing it. I had to swap cards on the camera, and then it stopped working, completely stopped working. And I went to GNARBOX's website, jumped on support, and within a minute, someone was there helping me, very lovely lady. We had went through the whole thing and figured out the problem. That, yep, that's the problem that they're having with Adobe. It's not a GNARBOX issue, it's a Lightroom issue, but I can't demo it, but I can tell you it did work, and it probably will work at some point here in the near future. But it's basically your ability to import wirelessly directly into Lightroom. However, there is a workaround. You can tether this with USB-C, plug straight into your iPad, and it will see it as a local drive. It's just over the Wi-Fi. I'm gonna guess, I'm not 100% certain. You know how with the new iOS, they've got that new local security that they've been doing. I'm thinking that has something to do with it, that it can't communicate, and maybe they haven't worked around it on Lightroom. But so keep in mind, you can use this with any other application, including your video editing. You can wirelessly connect to it while you're on an airplane and just work with your proxy files that you transcoded while you were, say, walking through the terminal on your 2-hour TSA journey. It's got a lot of power, and it's a wireless little NAS. And when you are on home network, then it's just a NAS on your home network. I mean, it's really, really powerful. I did not expect to use it as much. I kind of figured that I would use this when I was just in the middle of nowhere, would be the only times that I use it. But it's just not the case. I now use it to and from locations, well, mostly from locations, so I can immediately get a copy and feel solid about having a good backup. I was really impressed that it worked with Red. It works with Komodo footage. It works with DSMC2 footage. It works with SD. It works with anything you can plug in, and it works with external SSDs. I mean, it's basically a kind of hands-free little computer so that you don't have to lug around a big iPad everywhere you want to go when you want to copy footage and get a copy. This is that little helpful friend that will get you through the day making copies. Making copies. Most of y'all probably wouldn't get that reference. The battery life on it, pretty fantastic. Several hours. I've been running it here all morning long. No problems at all. It's sitting at 69%. I've been copying files, I've been duplicating files, I've been shooting this multiple times. So what are the pros and the cons? Well, let's do the cons first. Con number one is the HDMI. It's really kind of not necessary. I mean, the easiest way to say that is the best way to use the HDMI is to use an app. And the app can already see the video. I mean, I guess if you don't want to transcode footage and you just want to play it directly out, then I guess it's okay. But yeah, HDMI, kind of unnecessary. Another negative is the price. I mean, it does come in at a pretty penny, but what you're getting for it, I'm not going to say that's a big negative. There's a lot of value in what you're getting. Another negative is you're limited in size. This thing right here with a 4 terabyte SSD inside would be killer. I mean killer, because at that point, I mean, you could process 8 Komodo cards in one day onto one device. And that, team it up with a external SSD, 4 terabytes, you've got a good, checksummed, verified red dumps all day long. So if they had bigger versions of this, that would be pretty awesome. So the fact that it's 1 terabyte is pretty limiting. I would definitely strongly urge you to get at least the 0.5 terabyte, the 512, but the 1 terabyte is where I would be. If you're a vlogger, maybe 0.5 terabyte would be okay. But for me, I mean, I shoot 8K time lapses all day long, and I can burn through 256 gig cards in no time shooting raw on 8K on a Sony. Same thing with Komodo and Red. So, I mean, you can burn through it pretty quick. Really, I mean, just the extreme simplicity of the front panel and what you can and can't do. It's not really a negative, but it'd be cool to have a couple of more options at least on here. Mainly jumping to HDMI. That'd be kind of nice, just be able to trigger this way. Some Bluetooth functionality, that'd be kind of cool, but I mean, that's not what it was sold with, so yeah, I get it. So what are the positives? Well, it's rugged. It's really, really rugged. It's really built to take a beating. I don't feel guilty at all knocking it around. Maybe I should, but I don't. You can throw it in your backpack. It is a nice little hand warmer. When it's transcoding, it will warm up nicely. So, you know, it's a perfect little hand warmer. The Wi-Fi functionality and the speed of this is pretty impressive. It can dump a card really quickly. I believe they say the SD here is limited to 75 megabytes per second, but the USB is limited to 350, I believe, or 375. It will dump through their GNARBOX external media through CFast 2. It will dump really fast to this, which is really nice. Supposedly, I haven't tested it with it. This SD card reader is twice as fast as this one, so you can dump footage with this at even faster. I mean, that's all positives. The wireless NAS capability is really nice. The simplicity of their apps is really nice. The ability to plug in an external SSD and dump to 2 with checksum at the same time is really, really nice. I'm a big fan of dual backups, and this will do it for you while it's sitting in your backpack. Removable battery. The fact you can buy a couple of these batteries and be out in the field, so you could be out there for several hours planning to dump footage while you're out there, and then on your hike back, you're going to transcode. You might burn through a couple batteries. You can buy a couple extra batteries, and you're good to go. I mean, there's a lot of positives to this. All in all, when you use this, if you include it in your workflow, and you work remote and by yourself a lot, it's worth it. It's worth the money. If you happen to be part of the Red Komodo users group on Facebook, there might be a special going on these. Depends on when you watch this, but I urge you to join that one. As always, if you have any questions or comments, do feel free to put them in the comment section down below. I try to read and respond to each and every one, even if it's just to say thank you. You can support me with any of my links down below. You can subscribe, give it a thumbs up, click the alert bell, all the good things to help this channel. I appreciate it. And as always, as I like to leave it, don't let your passions center around your life. Let your life center around your passions.